Isaiah says, "Woe unto them that join house to house, till there can be no place, that they may be placed alone in the earth." Greed, that's what he's talking about here. Simply put, he's saying that a woe will fall on the rich who join houses and land to their estates until there's no room left for others to build on. And we need to remember, a woe is not an inconvenience. It's a terrifying curse from God, something to be avoided at all costs. This woe falls on the wealthy who join many houses and fields to their estates beyond any reasonable need until they have crowded out the poor. Sometimes the rich, looking for happiness and security in all the wrong places, strive to be placed alone in the midst of the earth. They want to be tucked away behind their gates and gardens. They want to be insulated against the poor, who both threaten them and stir up feelings of guilt. Sometimes it seems that some of our smartest people have forgotten the lessons from the French Revolution, that when tough times come, the masses prevail. Two consequences of this greed is that the rich end up having fewer means to bless the poor, and the poor have fewer places to live in. Ultimately, it's bad for all. Remember, we're striving for Zion, and Zion will have no poor among them. In verse 9, the Lord continues to build on this theme of homes. He says, "Of a truth, many houses shall be desolate, and great and fair cities without inhabitant." He's saying that in the last days, when many great estates will be built up, many of those estates will become empty and desolate, and even great cities will become without inhabitant. We see this again in chapter 6, when Isaiah asks the Lord how long it'll be before the people understand his words. The Lord says, "Until the cities be wasted without inhabitant, and the houses without man, and the land be utterly desolate." This woe will be unlike anything the covenant people have experienced before, and part of that woe will come because the covenant people did not really strive to create Zion, but rather strove to create their own insulated sanctuaries. So, how bad will this desolation be? The next verse tells us, "Yea, 10 acres of vineyard shall yield 1 bath, and the seed of an homer shall yield an ephah." Well, let's put this in perspective. Anciently, 10 acres would have produced not 1 bath, but about 500 baths of wine. In other words, instead of 500 baths, 10 acres will only give you 1. Likewise, he says, the seed of a homer will only yield an ephah of grain. An ephah of grain was only 1/10 of a homer. In other words, a person planting 10 seeds would only get 1 seed back at harvest, meaning it'd be better to eat the seeds than plant them, 10 times better. That's serious desolation. And the Lord says it's coming to his covenant people. How will this happen? Isaiah prophesies of a terrible drought in the land, both physically and spiritually. And the famine from that drought will be so bad that entire industries will fail and regions of the country will be emptied. And don't forget, there's another factor in all this. Isaiah predicts a massive invasion among the covenant people in the last days. And in that invasion, entire armies will fight in the valleys, treading down the fields and breaking down the homes. So, here in these 3 verses in chapter 5, Isaiah offers us a way to avoid some of this tragedy. He's saying that spiritual things are connected to physical things, and that by keeping the spiritual law of blessing the poor and not isolating ourselves, we'll be blessed when these greater trials fall upon the people. And how will we be blessed? Some of us may be guided to store significant food and water, and then be led to share it when the time comes. Some of us may be guided to safe refuges, and many of us may simply grow closer to the Spirit and know more perfectly what the Lord would have us do when hard times come, as they surely will. Next time we'll see Isaiah's warnings about giving up when the going gets tough, because it appears that when the great and dreadful day of the Lord falls upon us, many of us will feel betrayed by seemingly false promises. I'm Curtis Taylor with the Words of Isaiah.